Good evening, everybody. So the theme for my presentation today is raising voice and making connections. I am from Dublin, Ireland, and I'm teaching there as a primary school teacher. I'm a Master of Education, Research and Practice graduate from 2019, where my research focused on how can I, as a primary school teacher, support children to recognise and manage their anxiety. My presentation today will discuss my action research, the benefits of raising voice, my change in my professional practice, and then my conclusion. So why did I choose action research? Well, I was addressing my living contradiction where I was primarily focused on delivering the curriculum. There was a number of children who were presenting with worries and an increase in parents seeking advice from me related to their child's worries. And I didn't feel like I had the strategies or the skill set to advise them or support them. And I realized my inadequacies and I wanted to improve. So therefore I asked myself, how can I improve what I'm doing and what are my values? So I first set off by doing a number of courses run by the Department of Education on mindfulness, yoga, sensory strategies and well-being. And then I reached out to my past special educational needs lecturer who I explained what my frustrations were. And she advised me that maybe action research is what I was looking for to improve my educational knowledge. And she put me in touch with the course coordinator. So those connections were very important initially, and they had a very positive support system for me. My values are hope, positivity, equality, and social justice. And they were really grounded in my desire and vision to improve my educational knowledge and practice to support children with worries, to develop anxiety recognition and management strategies so that they could essentially be happier and achieve their full educational, social and emotional potential in school and beyond school. So my living educational theory, it was inspired by Jean McAniff's quote when she said that if everyone did a bit extra for someone else, the world would instantly be a happier and more productive place for all. So my living educational theory is doing that extra bit to strengthen my transformational practice, grounding it into my life affirming and educational values of social justice, equality, hope and positivity, based on the principle that all students have a right to equality of educational opportunity and outcome, regardless of the worries students experience. So my study consisted of 4 12-year-old children who had no anxiety diagnosis. It was a 6-lesson study because I believe transformation can happen in a short space of time. Their parents were included, their class teachers, and myself, their resource teacher. And my validation group consisted of my critical friends and my supervisor. There was a number of different strategies that I used, but the ones that focused on voice were their feelings word bank. It's essential to develop their emotional literacy and then to allow them to practice it during circle time where they can discuss how they overcame their worries or any worries that they had. And then positive self-talk was a favorite strategy that we used on a daily, and it was one of their favorite strategies. And my findings found that voice is transformational. The children developed emotional literacy and they quickly grew to share their worries and solutions to the group. And not only that, my research question focused on how they can recognize worries within themselves. But then one day, the children were coming into class and I saw one child ask another, "How are you today?" And his body language just said he wasn't good. And his response was actually, "I'm fine, I'm grand." And the other student responded, "You're not grand. I can tell by your body language, you're not grand, and I'm here to talk." And I thought to myself that that's what it's all about, giving voice to children so they can then be change agents. And if we could all recognize when somebody else is worried, then maybe the world would be a better place. And I'm going to play the voice now of a child who expressed what he felt was most beneficial to him in the study.
Question 2. What helped you most in the study? Probably just branching out to others, finding out that I'm not the only one with these problems. Other people have these problems as well. So just branching out, talking to other people about it, and managing worries. Basically, yeah.
So this child felt that branching out to others and to talk to people was what benefited him the most. So it's so inspiring to know that voice really can create such an impact in my students. And the students all reported growth in their self-esteem and confidence, which was recognised in the triangulation of the data by the children, their parents, and the class teachers. For the parents, it was transformational because they were able to connect with me through calls or meetings, and they were using the same emotional vocabulary at home because I was sharing my lesson plans each week. So the parents and the class teachers knew exactly what was being taught every week, and then um, the consistent practice really benefited the children and the parents. One class teacher recorded that they had become a lot more patient and feel more able to cope with a child who has anxiety. And I found it was really great that that teacher could express that to me. So teachers were becoming more confident with the skills being learned. So connecting voice for me, it was for me the people who influenced my voice was my mother. She continuously has supported me throughout my education. My skill principal. If she didn't approve my action research study, then I wouldn't have been able to grow in the way that I had in my practice. My course supervisor, who connected me with the coordinator of my course, and through the course, I was then connected with different educators and with the peers on my course. It was really exciting to be on a course with people who had the same hunger to learn. Then the people who I potentially influenced was are my school students, their parents, and my school colleagues. And then I potentially I can potentially impact participants at webinars, maybe even this one. And then student teachers. I was invited as a guest speaker to third year student teachers some time ago, and I told my primary school teachers or my primary school children about it. And they said to me, "Teacher, can we share with them one of our strategies that helped us?" And I said, "Yes, you can." And they came up with this mantra for the third year students, which I'm going to play for you now. I am intelligent. I am intelligent. I am fantastic. I am fantastic. I will be a great teacher. I will be a great teacher. So that's a lecture room of third year student teachers repeating the mantra that was created by my 12-year-old students. And when they heard it, the excitement it gave them, because that was their extra bit to help others, because they hoped that maybe the student teachers would use that mantra themselves, because they think maybe student teachers might get stressed sometimes, or they might use it on their own students. So the benefits of raising voice, for me, it really was confidence building, and it has improved my practice. It is so exciting to see the growth and development in my participants as they applied the learned strategies. For the participants, the transformation it gave to the children was inspirational, because they had higher self-esteem and confidence. There was higher sports achievement and reading in class. There was more agency, and they were able to recognize and manage their worries and sensitively recognize it in others. It did give me challenges, understanding new terms such as living educational theory and living contradiction. And I also had a lack of confidence at the beginning, because returning back to college, I did have to connect with people who I didn't speak to in a long time, such as my past lecturer. So there is challenges in it. The change in my professional practices, I'm definitely tuning daily into the children's emotional well-being. We do feelings at the beginning of the day where we can support one another and practice our emotional literacy. I allow time to express worries and plenty of time for the children to practice that literacy. Positive self-talk is done daily. And then there's confidence to further connect with educators outside of the school setting. And that confidence is still building. And then I feel more confident using my voice to promote well-being in school. Last year, one of my students did a whole school meditation on the intercom. So the students are really using their voice to be change agents, and it's very encouraging and inspirational and transformational in school. So the conclusion is, in doing action research and in living my living educational theory, I believe that I am adding that extra bit to the quality of education that my students and potentially other educators are contributing to the flourishing of humanity through transforming practice and knowledge and bringing happiness. Especially since going through COVID-19, I think it's so important, more so now than ever, to give our students voice, to give ourselves voice, because it enables us to be confident, to have higher self-esteem, to achieve. And I do think action research, it requires a bit of bravery, because sometimes you have to connect with people that you may haven't talked to in a long time. The famous words of the Irish poet Seamus Heaney, he said, if you have the words, there is always a chance that you will find the way. And that's what I want to give to my students. I want to give them that chance, because it's what they deserve and it's their right. So thank you for listening to me today. And now I have a question for you all. What challenges have you experienced when making connections and raising voice? And how did you overcome them? Thank you.
Thanks very much, Aislinn.
I think it'd be lovely as a collective to feed back to Aislinn on that wonderful presentation, and just absolutely uplifted with the positivity. And you know, it's so kind of, it's built on so much good theory and practice. You know, it's just fantastic. And you know, it's such an area that needs so much attention, well-being in schools, and it can be a hard one to implement, and it really needs teachers on the ground at grassroots coming up with these innovative ideas, rather than some text coming through the door of the school and some kind of box ticking exercise. You know, this is so authentic, you know, checking in with your students first thing. It's all very, you know, it's just embedded in your daily practice, as opposed to something that's timetabled for an hour on Friday because you haven't got around to it all week. You know, it's just absolutely, it's just so impressive, and just want to congratulate you on your work.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I am concerned about, you know, teachers' voice not being heard, you know, and I just feel like such a fake, really, when you look at the amazing work that Aislinn has done. Just well done. I'm blown away.
I think just to say, Aislinn, there for a second, I think it's important to just maybe pause and think about the significance of your research, because it's something that we talked about a lot in the course, as you're very well aware of. But you know, when you were embarking on this journey, and when you went through it, and when you had completed the particular study that you did you ever think about the significance of your research outside of the classroom, beyond yourself and the children, in terms of, you know, the potential that it had for when you were working with student teachers as well? Had you thought that far ahead?
No, I hadn't. I hadn't. And I found that when I went to talk to the student teachers, the fact that my students recommended a mantra for them, I thought it was just brilliant. And the student teachers responded really well, as you heard. But it just shows that transformation can happen with all ages, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, amazing. Well done, well done.
Great. Jack, you have your hand up.
Yeah, if I could just say, it's in relation to, again, the last questioner. It just seems to me that the energy that you've expressed fits in with what Ortrun Zubit-Skerrit has talked about in her latest publication about a loving learning conference. And what I think you've actually shown us, and the recording, I think you'll get such a lot from, because I think you are expressing your own love and enthusiasm for what you do in education. And I think that reflection, that you can bring that to the fore and actually bring it into as you're generating knowledge in terms of what you've actually done here today. So it just felt to be such a powerful presentation of your embodied values and knowledge. So many thanks for that. It's great.
Thank you.
Really, Gurmila Magav, and what really well done.